Neil Channing will be first to speak in this hand. He hasn't seen too many decent cards, and he hasn't seen too many times where the action's got to him unraised.
175.
The very quiet Neil Channing is...
Yeah, it's his problem now that if he does pick up a hand, he's going to find it tough to get action.
Yep, that's probably going to be his trouble. He's going to have to be tricky.
So what do you do normally when you get a lot of bad hands, Bambus?
All right. It's for charity.
Three players to this flop, Eastgate, Haller and Lou.
Queen, 4, queen.
And Eric is going to be the recipient of some charity if anyone pays his bets here. 3 queens he has.
350.
He's not messing around either. He's not checking it.
Pass.
He's just going to bet it. Strong play.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not charity. That's him.
Yeah, Peter might have him on a draw or just taking a stab at the pot.
Check.
Eric's got to decide the best way for him to get more money. That check's probably the correct play.
6.
As long as a 5 doesn't come down.
Well, I don't think either of them will worry too much about the clubs.
No, they've come back door.
Not impossible that Peter might decide to pay off a bet here. Eric could easily have spades in this pot.
Exactly, that's why I quite like the check on the turn. Trying to make it look like he's got a 4 or give it his opponent who's got a 4 a reason to call.
$9.50.
About the right price as well, I think. It's kind of where you'd probably price it if you were trying to bluff.
Well, Eric's varied his value bets. Seen him making small value bets. This is a slightly bigger one. And Peter Eastgate hasn't folded straight away. He's certainly thinking about it.
Stone cold bluff. That's about all he can be. He's finally put 2 and 2 together.
Makes the right lay down. Eric is a tutor for Card Runners, a tutorial website, and at the moment he's taking the other players to school a little bit, isn't he? It's becoming the Eric Lou show.
It certainly is. Playing very good, and that's why he's up nearly 17,000 euros. Top of the leaderboard with 16,900 in profit. He's in for 10,000 euros so far.
Well, Christoph Haller has consistently put the straddle on. He's here to play. 100 to go because of that, and Bambos will kick things off.
100.
Not much of a kicking by throwing his hand in the muck. It's joined by Andy Black, and here comes Riku. Raising it up to...
Can you put your cards straight for 350, please?
350's the bet.
I can see one of your cards there.
And I think Peter Eastgate might give him a bit of action here. Just a gut feeling.
1175 total.
Well, he's made it 1175. I'm not too surprised about the re-raise with pocket aces there.
1175 total.
That should be all she wrote, unless Riku decides to get creative. It would be a bad time.
Yes.
No, sir.
That's quite enough. He's happy to only lose 350 in that pot.
You folded 2 kings?
Peter Eastgate getting a nice, nice pot.
The Danish for sure. We're the biggest bluffers and the biggest stations, I think. So Danish players are the best and the craziest.
The Swedes are pretty crazy. I mean, they're just extremely aggressive and extremely good, and they're probably one of the more difficult people to play.
Yeah, Irish are pretty up there, you know. I mean, we stand the test of time. There's not so many of us on an international scene now. Maybe we've got a bit more conservative recently.
I should say the Chinese, maybe. They're a little bit more kamikaze sort of players. You know.
I think there's a certain sort of Mediterranean sort of lunacy that happens with Italian players.
The Russians, yeah, they don't care about money. They come to have fun, and they put in things you won't believe.
The Scandinavian nations, very cold there, you know, and they don't get out too much unless it's skiing or downhill skiing, which is like, it's really scary, you know.
I think the ones that have sort of cold, calculating craziness, definitely the Scandi.
They're actually They're nuts. They are nuts.
And there's something there. There's something like, it's like they're busting to like express something, you know, and maybe that comes out a bit at the poker tables.
We just don't understand it. When we play with them all day long, and we were seeing the bluff, re-raising the bluff. I've never seen it before. It's crazy.
They just don't care. They just don't care. Don't care about the money. They just like to have fun.
There's been plenty of action so far today. Some big pots, some big laydowns, some big calls.
50.
It's all big, that's the key.
Yep, all big.
200.
Well, we've got well over 100,000 euros on the table. Just trying to add it up. Around about 150,000 euros on this table. Really is a big
2,
game.
7, ace.
Eric Liu's been in charge so far, and he's running good as well. Nice flop for his Queen 10 of clubs.
350. Pass.
How difficult is it to play against a good aggressive player when they're hitting cards, not having to show, sort of semi-running over the game?
It's always very difficult to play against them. You've got to pick one of two ways. You've either got to sit there, wait for a hand, and hope to catch them, or you've got to fight fire with fire, and there certainly doesn't seem to be anyone willing to fight fire with him right now. We saw a little bit of that from Riku in one pot earlier on, but that's about it.
I watched Eric Liu playing in the London EPT where he eventually finished 4th, and a similar thing happened. He slowly took over the table, and when people fought back against him then, he would let them have the pot, but then he'd go right back to work. He wouldn't stop the aggression. Yeah,
that's a real good strength, is not to go onto the back foot once someone starts re-raising you. You've got to get straight back out there, keep putting the pressure on there.
Cool.
Well, we haven't heard much from Neil Channing. He decides to flat call in position with Queen 10. He's slightly behind at the moment. Albert with the Ace King, and he's going to be interested with 2 red 9s. And the 3 of them will take a flop.
I like this one.
We're playing fantasy poker, and 9 Jack King would have been a perfect flop for some action. But sadly, it's just a king high one, and that's going to be enough for Albert Iverson to take the lead.
You want to buy it?
725.
Can I have it cheap?
Well, Andy Black's 9s could easily be good on this board.
Yeah, he's decided to take a card to see what's going to happen on the turn.
Albert Iverson's been playing aggressive poker, so not surprising if he gets paid off when he has a hand.
Yeah, and these two have clashed before, where Albert just kept on betting and Andy kept on calling.
2025.
And there's a chance that Andy could read this as another continuation back with a missed ace, because now he's picked up a gut shot, he might feel a little bit stronger. But he looks uncomfortable, Andy. Might see him lay this one down.
Well, it's tough, isn't it? Because so many cards can come on the river that he wouldn't like. And is he going to call another bet? That's the problem.
I think you read it exactly right, and he's laid it down.
Yeah, but it makes it pretty.
If I'm running good, if I'm playing good, I can be a really good table captain. Then I can run the table over totally. So that's probably my biggest strength in poker. I think my biggest weakness is probably that I'm big for calling station sometimes. I get quite nervous, especially in the beginning of live play. No matter the stakes, I probably get pretty nervous. But when I get after an hour or so, I feel pretty comfortable table, and I like to chat as well. Well, I played a lot with Peter Eastgate, and he's a really good player, so I probably have to tighten up and play pretty solid and pretty tight. He's a big threat for sure. Well, here it's definitely the challenge of playing some of the best players and see how I can play against them, how I can compete with them.
This time Riku will put the straddle on. 50, 25, 50, 100 are those 3 blind bets to the left of Christoph Haller's button.
No.
Peter Eastgate reaching for some chips.
Go.
Christoph Haller going to play his button.
Go. And call.
That looks like 4 players to the flop.
Call or call?
Yeah, this is how the action went earlier in this cash game. Raise and 3 calls.
3, 6, 3. Check.
Well, that's not going to help
Check.
anyone too much. Christoph Haller's 5s lead the way.
It's not going to stop Peter having a bet.
Cool.
No, and Haller calls with the 5s. I don't think he's going to like a lot of turn cards.
Check.
And
might give Peter Eastgate
2,000.
an excuse to carry on betting now. He's picked up clubs. Christoph looking for a read. Senses a bit too much confidence, I think, in Peter. And decides to lay it down. Just double checking he had the clubs. I think he knew.
Peter Eastgate mainly plays cash online, so he's in his element here. Took some knocks early on, but he's back in the black. 1,000 euros to the good after that pot.
175.
Well, Peter Eastgate has been playing a lot of hands recently.
Cool.
And Queen King easily good enough
Cool.
for him. Eric Liu's going to play, Neil Channing's going to play.
175.
It's building into a nice pot.
Cool. I'm going to raise. Let's get the show on the road.
675 total.
That's the spirit, man. That's more like
I just want to see a good game, that's all.
Yeah, just want to see a good
favorite position, I guess.
Well, it's not a big re-raise. It's definitely kind of the kind of raise that's going to bring people in.
Cool.
All right, go on.
We're going to have a big pot, 4-way.
4-way. Bambus has taken control of the pot, but he's got the worst hand right now. It's dominated on both sides. The King-Jack, he doesn't want to catch the Jack against the Ace-Jack or the King against the King-Queen.
Jack.
Oh,
that
my life.
is going to be a bad
Check.
flop for Bambus.
Car crash for him. Eric Liu
Check.
waiting in the wings.
It'll be hard to beat.
It's a horrible game, isn't it? Bambos sitting there thinking,
1,025.
all my birthdays come at
1,025.
once. I've represented strength before the flop, and now I've hit a huge hand.
You're starting to learn the new poker.
The 25. That's the.
That's a clue.
Pass.
25 makes.
Now, how does Eric play this, Gary?
I think he plays it first.
It's all there.
Well, I can't. What is that?
He plays it fast because that looks less like a jack in case Bambos has the overpair.
Exactly, and a lot of cards are going to come that might slow your opponent down. Put 3,500 in there.
4,050.
Or 4,050
You're way
works.
off, Gary. You're fired. He does make the raise. Now, what does Bambos do? I mean, presumably the money's going to go in.
4,050.
He's got about another 17,000 behind.
Oh, one thing's for certain, this is going to be a very big pot.
It is, and it's horrible for Bambos. He's thinking, how do I get paid here?
4,050.
Well, he's called.
That's a little surprising because Eric Liu could be check raising with a flush draw, and I don't know.
Well, he's got position.
7.
He's going to see what happens on the turn.
Eric has Bambos covered. Bambos has got just under 14,000 behind.
If you want me to call, don't bet odd. If you bet odd, I pass.
There's no way Bambos can get away from this, is there?
I don't think so. I think he's actually flat called, so if Eric is bluffing, he keeps trying.
5,250.
I'm on it.
Call.
Oh, the
All in
insta
a
call.
That was that's going to be a bit of a clue to
Yeah.
Bambus.
Horrible for him to hear that insta call, and he's going to hate this.
The only thing he can beat really is kind of a Queen Jack.
38,625 euros in this pot, monster pot, and only a king can save Bambos here.
Well, he can split it.
Or he can split it, you're right.
9s and 7s would be a lifesaver for Bambus. It'd take a split right now, I'm sure. Here comes the river. And it's not.
It's a blank.
The quintessential blank. the deuce, and that's going to be a big, big pot for Eric Liu.
Absolutely monster pot. 38,625 euros in it. All of them are going to head Eric Liu's way. It's been his day so far. Bambos made a move pre-flop and it exploded in his face.
Sick. Wow.
A wretched time so far for Bambos. He's down 20,000 euros from those two big pots, and he's not the only five-figure loser. Riku Virasari down 10,500 euros. This table's become all about Eric Liu, though. Our American online superstar is up an amazing 37,000 euros. And so on the final hand of the night, Bambos has gone broke, as his king was to be out-kickered by Eric Liu's ace. Join us next time as the experienced veteran rebuys in an attempt to get back into the black. See you again soon.